Hi, my name is Jaime Evans. Today, I'd like to talk to you all about the importance of our mental health. I will hit the topics of the statistics as well as anxiety, depression, and suicide prevention. This speech is in no way considered professional help. Last thing before I jump in, my credited sources include the National Alliance of Mental Health, the National Institute of Mental Health, Anxiety and Depression Association of America, as well as This Way Up. I will also share tidbits of my own story because you never know who your story will affect. I'd like to start off with the importance of our own mental health. Following that, I will discuss the statistics as well as the different types or classifications. I'll proceed to narrow down my conversation to anxiety, depression, and suicide prevention. With that said, most of us are aware of the topic, but not all of us consider the importance of our mental health, let alone the ones around us. Have you ever struggled to control your feelings of worry or stress in certain situations or in any situation? What about the feeling of restlessness or trouble falling asleep nights on end, night after night? What about the feeling of fatigue or the feeling of emptiness that just doesn't go away, that you're stuck with day after day? According to the National Institute of Mental Health, these are all symptoms that people face. Oftentimes, it's hard to find motivation to start your day. With that being said, the signs and symptoms are not the same for everyone. But in an attempt to put this into perspective, I did find some statistics from 2018. And according to the National Alliance of Mental Health, 19.1% of U.S. adults experience mental illness, but about 4.6% of U.S. adults experience serious mental illness, and that is about 1 in 5 adults for mental illness and 1 in 25 adults for serious mental illness. When it comes to U.S. youth, there is about 16.5% that experience mental illness, which I thought was crazy. But I guess with the amount of bullying that goes on, it at the same time doesn't really surprise me. There is also an 11-year delay between discovering the symptoms and finding treatment. I find it's important and cannot stress enough to be aware of your mental health and your state of mind. There is a difference between being open about your mental health and making jokes. It's not only important to be aware of yours, but also to be aware of those around you, those that are important to you. Your story is your journey, and your journey can help others in ways that you could never imagine. You never know how what you say or your prayer, your presence anywhere can affect someone. Keeping in mind the different for everyone aspect, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, some of these disorders usually have classifications. For example, there's anxiety. But under that, there's generalized anxiety disorder as well as panic disorder and phobia-related disorder. I will be focusing on generalized anxiety and panic disorder in this speech. Generalized anxiety usually consists of people worrying for most days for at least 6 months. Other symptoms or signs may include feelings of restlessness or being wound up or on edge, being easily fatigued or not being able to concentrate or being really irritable, also having muscle tension, not being able to control your worry, or having difficulty falling asleep, which I kind of think goes with the restlessness. My anxiety has a touch of social anxiety. I dislike really big groups of people in certain areas, whether it's in a classroom or a fair, like anywhere in public. I cannot go out in public by myself oftentimes. This, however, has not yet stopped me. The next one, there's also panic disorder, which is a bit different. These, you have panic attacks, and these usually come in waves, and they usually have specific triggers. For some, when one is experiencing a panic attack, they may have symptoms of a pounding heart, or they might sweat a lot, as well as being shaky or having shortness of breath or feeling like they're being smothered or choking. They also have this feeling of impending doom and being out of control. Personally, I've only experienced one panic attack, but I will not be returning to a haunted house this year. Sometimes these are both considered, so while these are both considered anxiety, the symptoms are vastly different. Anxiety and stress can do a lot of damage on not only your mind, but your body as well. According to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, there are good ways to manage your symptoms, and these would include, but are not limited to, learning your triggers, as well as just doing the best you can day to day, taking it one moment at a time. Your body might also appreciate a better diet or more sleep or any form of exercise you're willing to partake in. While the symptoms for those may be different, you may find that as I talk about the next disorder, some symptoms may be similar. Depression, unlike anxiety, does not have different classifications, but has many symptoms. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, someone who is depressed may feel persistent sadness as well as emptiness or hopelessness, or maybe even guilt or worthlessness. Low energy or fatigue, they might move or talk slowly as well, and they might have difficulty concentrating or making decisions, as well as trouble falling asleep or oversleeping. They could also cause changes in your appetite or weight, and could all come down to thoughts or attempts of suicide. But remember, not all symptoms are the same for everyone, and not everyone experiences every symptom. Which you'll probably hear me say again. Depression does have the ability to not only alter what and how you eat, but alter your whole lifestyle. I try to keep things pretty normal. I try to stay busy throughout the week, throughout the day, doing things that I enjoy, that I need to get done, and just trying to keep my head held high. According to This Way Up, which is part of the Clinical Research Unit for Anxiety and Depression, getting up at the same time every day, as well as avoiding naps, could also help. If you can't sleep, they suggest trying a relaxation exercise or a meditation exercise, and I find that those help me fall asleep. But if nothing works for someone and one becomes hopeless, they might fall a little too far. They may become suicidal, and I know this is likely the hardest topic in my speech today. I know this topic for me hits home a little too closely for comfort, but it is something I feel that is important to talk about. I also feel it's up to society to put an end to all of this. There are multiple hotlines, which I have listed down here, and there's also a text line that I didn't know about until I did the research that is open 24 hours. But for some people, they might not like talking to strangers, so they might find it really hard to open up to somebody they don't even know or they can't even see. For those people, I feel you just have to be there, and that's something that resides to me, something that I always think about is just good to just be there for someone. You don't have to say anything, you don't have to look at them, just be there when they need you. But something that I feel is obvious but necessary to cover in this speech would be the symptoms. These symptoms, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of signs that you might not even catch. A lot of people don't catch them, but I think it's good to be aware of them, to know what to look for and how to help somebody. But these symptoms would include wanting to die or killing oneself, as well as the feeling of having no reason to live or making a plan, as well as withdrawing from family or friends and showing rage or saying goodbye, making a will, or even giving away all your important possessions. And the list goes on, right on down to buying guns or stocking pills and searching for lethal methods online. And this is all according to the National Institute of Mental Health. In conclusion, I hope that this has opened someone's eyes out there. The statistics honestly opened my eyes. I thought that was kind of crazy. But to sum it all up, a lot of us are fighting our own battles. And I feel like it's good to be aware of not only our mental health, but also our friends or our family, and to just be there for them and be nice to other people, be nice to one another. I feel it's important. Thank you.